Hi Etty, I'm in the wrong place, 1 second. How you doing? Excellent, great as usual, you've done excellently, especially the photo shoot. Excellent, really good, lots of energy, lots of attitude, that's great. Okay, let's jump in. So the first series of pictures is running, and you have done very, very well. This is great. The stats, first things first, the stats are good, bad, or perfect. Perfect. Excellent. ISO 800, you might say, well, that's a little bit quick. Yeah, but we need, so that's a little bit high. We could also say quick as well. That's a little bit high, but it's not, in that we need to get ourselves a quick shutter speed. So you've done excellently. That's great. How did your camera perform? Your camera performed okay. Not amazing, but okay. This is a bit better. Oh no, it's not. 1 second. What about this one? Oh, that one's a bit sharper. You can see your camera isn't that hot at 800 ISO. Amazing the difference between the when you go to the professional level cameras and you get the full frame, it makes a big difference with the ISO. It's not bad. It's not a problem. But it's just, it doesn't really make a difference, practically speaking, in regards to printing and stuff like that. But there is a difference between the next level of cameras and your camera. You have an 80D. Good. So this is great. You've demonstrated a point. You're in AI servo, which means that your camera is constantly readjusting, and you've managed to nail these pictures. It's very important to remember, these pictures are like a kind of bread and butter shot that I have in my repertoire of pictures. I always make sure to get a run. There's never a shoot that there's never a shoot, I think I can say that for sure. There's never a shoot that I do where I don't use this technique to get pictures of people walking towards me or running towards me or walking away from me, etc., etc. It's a great trick, so to speak, a great shot to have in your repertoire. Lots of energy, and it's just an interesting, exciting picture to add to your portfolio. Great. Okay, so now, perfect. Your camera has performed perfectly. So 1 sec. What are you in auto? Okay, you're in manual exposure. So I'm not sure why you changed the exposure if you're in the same place, but either way, so let's try and look through the fact that exposure's changed. Here we are in AWB. Okay, this is the coolest of the pictures. This is too cool for my liking. Now, I don't know why you've gone up. I'm not so into these stats. You could be wider on your aperture. You do not need to be at 2000 ISO. Your camera is not particularly hot at 2000 ISO, and it's just it doesn't need so much light. That's just too bright. It's just overexposed. And then so you've dropped down for this next picture, and then for this next picture as well. So we can see anyway that I don't know what happened with your exposure. I'm not so sure about that. But you've really demonstrated clearly the rule. The rule is that default we shoot in sun. Okay, we're talking about in a regular non-flash natural light situation. Default is sun. If you see the image is too bluey, that happens regularly. You go to cloud, and if you see the image is too warm, that happens less regularly. You go to AWB. So we see that the levels are AWB is the coolest, although it can occasionally, when funny things happen with the light, occasionally it can do other things. But generally AWB is the coolest. Then sun is a little bit warmer. Shade is cloud is warmer still, and shade is the warmest. Okay, the reason these pictures don't look good is not because of the white balance, this would be too warm. It's because they're overexposed. I don't quite know why you did that, but you have proven the point here. Is AWB is cool, warmer, warmest. Excellent. Okay. No need for raw. This is a great shot. This is so full of life, so full of energy. It's a little overexposed, but it's not. For the picture, I think it goes perfectly. Loads of energy, great movement in this direction as well. Excellent. In regards to no need for raw, going for this kind of look, this very, very light kind of look, there is no need for raw. If you wanted to bring back some of the detail in these highlights, you would probably actually need raw. But for the actual picture, I think this is perfect. I think we could add a little bit of contrast, a drop more contrast. We might take this one into Lightroom, we'll see. But this is a great example of no need for raw. This picture, best in raw, actually, I think wouldn't make such a difference, in that you could do a lot here. You've nailed the exposure. The exposure is great. That you wouldn't really need raw unless you're talking about trying to give yourself some detail back in these silhouettes, which I don't think you probably need to. But the actual sky here, we could do some amazing things, even not in raw, just in like, look at it, even just in Picasa. Even if we just put up the shadows, put up the highlights a drop, you really don't need much. There isn't that much to be given from raw, so I don't actually agree with you this is best in raw. If there was a person in the front of the picture who was silhouetted, whatever, then it would probably be too much for raw to deal with. But I think try again for your next homework. Again, best in raw. Best in raw, we shoot raw generally. There's also the issue when you have an issue with your white balance, but the general reason for shooting in raw is when there's a big discrepancy between the highlights and the shadows. When the highlights are very bright and the shadows very dark, then raw will give you in post that extra leeway that will allow you to bring, like, to pull the highlights down and to pull the detail out of the shadows. So this kind of image, if you had somebody in here who was not very well lit, in this kind of situation, I would imagine probably raw wouldn't even cut it. Because if someone was standing here, there would basically be a silhouette, and raw would not be able to bring back enough information to turn a silhouette into a regular image. So try that again, and maybe go back through to make sure that you understood exactly how raw works and where its benefits are for us. Okay, the exciting bit. Let's get into your photo shoot. This is, I mean, you've missed. Have you missed the focus? 1 second. I don't think you missed the focus. I think this is that you didn't hold the camera steady. I'm pretty sure that you didn't hold the camera steady. The truth is, this image, I feel actually, it adds a bit to it, the fact that it's a bit kind of gritty and that you didn't nail the focus. I really do. I love this background, loads of energy. There's like bam in the background. Great moment between the girls. All this hair is great. Lots of energy in the hair. Lots of like electric and electricity between them. It's great. A great pose here. I really like this shot. We've got a good shape here. Arm goes over the line of the images. I suppose she's more pulling. The expression there is more energized. So we enter in here, and then we go over here. Then there's this like buzzing backwards and forwards. We come around like this. Excellent. Okay, so it was. I'm assuming that it was a mistake about the lack of sharpness in this picture, but it kind of worked out to your advantage. So nice one on that. Good shot. Excellent. Okay, is this the same girls? Yeah. Okay, so now here you have, no, not quite. Again, I think it's the, I think that you're not shooting quick enough. Or you're not holding the camera steady enough. I think you need to hold the camera steadier. With your lens, you have the 50mm, you have an 80D, which means you have a crop sensor camera. You have to work out where you can go with the with your aperture. It could be that you could actually shoot at 1.8. I found with the crop sensor cameras, even a very, very wide aperture can allow for enough depth of field to like give you the depth of field that you need. Right now, I don't know why you're at 160. You said that the default ISO should be at 200, but even in this case, it seems to me you have to do some tests. Some people can't hold the camera steady even at 200th of a second, or you have to be super conscious. So I think that you should really keep in mind that it could be that you're not holding the camera steady, and be absolutely conscious as much as you can and holding the camera steady. Go back to, I think it's class 3, and that will show you the technique of what you can use to hold the camera steady, pushing it closer, pushing it hard into your face, putting your hand underneath, tucking your elbow in, breathing correctly, standing correctly, etc. Go back and do the I think it's probably in the 1 minute recap for class 3. Pretty sure it's class 3. Okay. Okay. Now we've got the focus nailed. Okay. Again, you're at 2.2. You haven't changed any of your stats. This is a great image. The one little thing that would make a big difference, I think, is that if you were to a little bit less room here, and that her hands should come in. It's interesting because really this is a picture of this girl here. Okay, this girl is bringing us into this girl here, but this is a great shot. Just listen, you hear that? that area. Remember, the rule is, are we allowed to cut off hands and feet? The answer is yes, we're allowed to cut off hands and feet. Are we allowed to break circles, lines and shapes? No, we're not, generally. So this is a problem because this circle really comes around here, which means we should actually have a little bit more room of the image here. I love the movement because, like I said, it's the picture of her. I probably also would be at 1.8. You Emmanuel? Yeah, I would still probably be in 1.8. It might be nice if she was a little bit blurrier, maybe. And like I said, I'd crop a little bit out here, leave a little bit more in here, crop a little bit off here maybe, and have a little bit more over here, just to get that crazy perspective of this cool wall. But great, you've really matched the energy, like the attitude of this girl really matches the composition. Even this hard texture over here, this hard pattern is great. This strong vertical line and this strong vertical line does a lot. And then you've got this real heavy perspective with these vertical lines as well. Excellent, a lot of energy, great. Just like I said, just needs a little bit more room at the bottom here. Okay, this is a great shot. Stats are whacked out. Sorry, Etty. Stats are whacked out. Why did you do that? Why would you have done that? A 2000 ISO at a 1,000th of a second at 2.2. I don't understand why you did that. I'm sure you realize that that's a mistake. There's no need for this to be so quick. This could be 200, 250, 3/20th of a second, a much lower ISO, and you can also be as wide as possible. I love the picture. Getting away from the stats. I love the picture. A lot of attitude, a lot of energy. To add some more energy to this, I think I would do something like that. Maybe drop closer. Maybe a teeny bit more. That's a great shot. That really is a great shot. We've got this awesome pattern, this awesome perspective going into a subject. The subject's got a lot of attitude. There's a lot of like energy, dynamic tension there. Plus now, by putting the subject to the thing, this is what we spoke about at the beginning of the classes, where we've created this dynamic kind of electric, static, pardon me, where you have this doing, you bang in. Generally for portrait photography that isn't good, but in this case when we're dealing with such energy and such drama, that really does work. This is a great shot, really a great shot. Just again, I'm a little confused about your stats, but a great shot. Okay, also now your stats are even wackier. I don't understand why your stats are like that. I would love you to explain that to me in the next class, because I thought you understood this pretty well. The actual shot is great. The composition is great. You've nailed your focus. But the reason why it's so, as my kids would say, icky, is because you're at a 3200 ISO. You should be at 1.8. Your aperture should be at 1.8. You've got the exposure. So like we learned from the last class, you could be at, let's say, if we went down to 1600 ISO, then you would need another stop here, which means, let's just do the whole thing. Let's work out the whole thing together to help you with this. So right now we've got the correct exposure. You are at a 1/1000th of a second. You are at 2.2, f2.2, and you are at 3200. So now first things first is that can go to 1.8. So that's given us +2 clicks. We're going to talk about clicks, okay, because we're out of stops now, because that isn't a whole stop. So we'll talk about clicks. So we've given ourselves here +2 stops, +2 clicks of light, okay, which is the third stop. So that's really 2/3 of a stop of light. Okay, now that means we can drop out. Let's see what we can get. I think according to how you hold your camera steady, I would go to a 3/20th. So we go to a 1/500th is 3 clicks. Then it goes 500, 400, 320. So that's plus 5 clicks. So that means we would go to a 1/320. And now that means we've got +5 +2. That means we're +7 clicks of exposure, which is 2 1/3 stops, which means we can take away now 7 clicks from our ISO. So it goes 3200, if I remember this correctly, 3200, 2500, 2000, 1600, 1250, 1800, 640 ISO. So for this same, and that would have been -7 clicks. Okay, go back to this. This is a lot of learning that we've just done through here. Go back through this, have a look. You have to fix these settings, please. For next homework, please nail it. I know you can nail it. I know you understand it. You're doing great. Just go back through this video tutorial maybe a couple of times and really try and understand this, because the reason why this picture is, as my kids would say, is icky, is because of these bad stats. ISO should not be at 3200. Take a screenshot of this and go back through again and try and nail it. Okay? Etty, let's take this one for sure. Let's take this one into light, and this is going to be awesome. Black and white, 100%. I'm going to make it super energized. We're going to add, let's see, watch this, watch this. This is going to be excellent. Import. Okay, develop. Now I'm going to go to black and white. I'm going to immediately put on my clarity. I'm going to put on my contrast. Okay, I want to add in some grain to give it a bit more like grit. Okay, now for sure I want to put in a radial filter, and I'm going to darken it considerably. Invert. And I think that's it. I think we can add a little bit, make her face a little bit brighter, especially on this side. I think actually we're going to erase a little bit here. So I just want more direction, which means this side has been brightened and this side not. Okay, maybe we can add in a teeny bit more. 1 second. A bit more clarity to her hair. Yeah, for sure. Maybe also a little bit more on these creases as well, just a bit more energy all over. Drop maybe in her mouth and her nose and the eyes. Excellent, great. Okay, Etty, that is a great shot. Look at that. Psh, great shot, well done. Okay, good stuff. Please get the stats straight. It is the key to, you've got the eye, that's great. You understand composition. But you have to get the stats straight. Okay, so go back through. I hope I gave you enough information in this class. Try and nail it. Please let me know in the email. You can send me an email with in the notes for the homework. Let me know how you found it, and and I'll try and explain further if it didn't click. Okay, best of luck. Looking forward to seeing what you do for us next week. All the best.